Hey, everybody. My name is Courtney McIntyre. I'm a certified pediatric sleep coach, mother of three, and founder of Sleep Little One Sleep Consulting. And today I have a video for you guys about cognitive milestones that can disrupt sleep. In the past, I've talked about physical milestones that can disrupt sleep, such as walking or crawling, rolling, those kinds of things. But in this video, I want to talk about the cognitive ones, the ones that we don't really see, but they're going on behind the scenes in your little one's brain. Um, and eventually we do see the effects of those, but usually that's not until it's been going on in their brain for a little while. So when it is going on, they usually will be cranky, fussy, clingy, tired, because they're usually not napping well, obviously. And some people will call these leaps. And leaps sometimes they're physical, sometimes they're cognitive. And in this video, obviously, we're going to be talking about the cognitive leaps. And I would like to talk about five of them that are pretty common. There's tons of leaps, there's tons of cognitive developmental milestones that your little one will go through, but I'm just going to go through five of the more common ones and the more ones that you can really notice. Um, so so the first one is called patterns. So this cognitive milestone will occur between 6 to 8 weeks old. It'll when your little one hits this milestone, they'll perceive the world as patterns instead of one intense perception. So they'll start to notice different patterns through what they see, hear, feel, smell, and even perceive them within their own body and their own surroundings. So with their own body, they may notice that their hands can move in a certain way. They have a pattern to them. Like the way your fingers move are in a pattern to get straight. Instead of just one big giant thing, a finger, it's a finger. No, they're seeing that they actually move and like all this stuff. So that is like the world of patterns. They'll even start to look at you differently and notice your face and the shape of your face and how your lips move a certain way and maybe your nose. And they'll just really look at you and stare at you and notice that your face is moving in a pattern. They'll even start making noises at this age. And this is when you guys will have your first little chit chats or conversations together, even though it's usually just like blah, blah, blah. Like they're not really saying anything. But this is when they start to realize they have a voice and they can speak. And there's patterns to that as well. So the second cognitive milestone will be awareness. This milestone will happen around 4 to 6 months old, and it kind of piggybacks off of patterns. In fact, all the milestones piggyback off each other because they're learning one thing and then they go into learning another based off of what they've learned here. They learn more and it turns into something bigger, and then so it just keeps kind of going on. Awareness really piggybacks off of patterns, because your little one will be learning so much from the patterns milestone that it'll really start to show itself in this milestone where they're becoming very aware. They'll become pretty talkative. They may even have favorite sounds that they make. Some little ones may even start raspberrying. My daughter Nova loved to do that at this age. And they may even become more coordinated with the way that they move their hands and even their legs and the way that they move their head. Just everything will become more coordinated. And they'll even be able to see much more clearly now. And then, so the third cognitive milestone that disrupts sleep is separation anxiety. This one happens a little later, and it's usually around 8 to 10 months old. And during this milestone, your little one will realize that you can leave the room and you can walk away from them. You're actually not a part of them. They're their own person, and so are you. So you can walk into another room, and that is actually quite scary for them. It causes anxiety for them. They might even make it known to you by getting upset. Some babies more than others. Some babies might be okay Some might not. Some might be okay for a couple minutes. Some might be not okay right away. It all depends on your little one and their temperament. Um, but It can even occur when you're putting them down for sleep in their crib. So they might get anxious about that because they realize you can leave them. And that can actually disrupt their sleep and make naps super hard and even bedtime. And another thing that occurs during this time is that when they're around people they don't know or strangers, so to speak, they'll shy away from them. They won't want to look at them or even talk to them. And if they get too uncomfortable with the situation, they may even start crying. So number 4 is a language increase or a language burst. This milestone will usually occur around 18 to 24 months, but it can occur earlier or later. My oldest daughter was really speaking around like 15 months. She spoke pretty early. Of course, there were only like one word things, but like she was speaking pretty early, whereas my son, he didn't start till a little bit later, and so did my second daughter actually. Um, but you'll notice your little one has like a sudden burst of language and they might be talking your ear off. Sometimes what they're saying isn't understandable, but it's the fact that they're speaking much more than usual that is an indication that this milestone is taking place. Once their language is becoming more understandable, this will also affect their sleep as well because they're learning how to actually say the words, and that can be hard for them. It's not easy to actually pronounce the words and get their lips and their tongue in certain positions so that they're saying the word properly. And then the last and final milestone I'm going to talk about today is nightmares and or fears. So nightmares can occur around the age of 3 to 6 years old, and fears can happen around ages 3 to 4, but they can occur as early as 2 years old. A lot of parents swear that their baby is having nightmares in their crib, and that's why they're waking up. But it's usually that's not actually true. They can't actually they don't have the brain capacity yet to actually have a nightmare, so to speak. But they can have fears, not so much babies, but toddlers. They can have fears. Usually, if a baby's waking up in the crib, it's because of a sleep regression or some other thing going on. Maybe they have hit a milestone of some sort. Usually it's that, and it's not, or some other sleep problem, and it's not usually having to do with nightmares and fears. Babies, they don't really have that yet. But anyways, so nightmares, they can continue on for years. So can fears, obviously, and they can start as two. But this can happen usually the fears and nightmares once they get a little older. If they're exposed to scary shows, movies, books, or anything along those lines. So I suggest not exposing them to those things until they're a little, well, if you feel like you want to, until they're, I don't know, older. I say don't do it at all, but of course, you can't always prevent that. I mean, there's things that you wouldn't think would scare your little one, and they do. So, anyways, all of these milestones can be really disruptive to sleep because your little one's discovering so many things about the world around them and about their own body. And it can be exciting for them, but it can also be really frustrating and scary for them. And as they're learning and growing in this world and they're learning how they fit into this world. It's definitely a process. So I want to say that it can be frustrating for them, but it also can be frustrating for you. But try to be as patient as you can during this time. That is my biggest tool that I would say during these kind of milestones is just to be as patient as you can. As frustrating as it is, being patient will really set a tone, a good tone for this. So what else can be done though? What else can be done? Obviously being patient because that does affect their mood. How you are acting will affect how they react and vice versa. So just you're the adult, you're the one who knows how to control your emotions. They don't. So just try to stay patient as much as you can. Of course, we're only human, and we all have our breakdowns, and we can only handle so much. So I totally get it. If you do make a mistake, we're human. Just let it go, move on, and try again next time. Another thing you can do, if your little one wakes up and they start babbling to themselves, or maybe they start doing certain things like staring at their hands instead of sleeping, that's okay. Let them practice what they're doing. If they get frustrated, then you can go in and gently say a sleep phrase or whatever you do to get them to sleep, and then leave the room again and let them try to sort it out on their own, depending on the age, obviously. And if they don't go back to sleep, that's okay. You can get them up. If they start crying and you know they're not going back to sleep, get them up and you can offer them their next nap when it's needed. So another helpful tip you can use for better sleep is to allow them to practice their new skill as often as possible during their wake time. Practice, practice, practice. If they like to talk, go on little conversations with them as much as you can. Oh, they like to look at their hands, just point out, look at your hands. Like, so get them really into practicing what they have been learning about their world around them and themselves as much as you possibly can. If they practice it during the day, they're least likely to do it when they should be sleeping. And one last thing I want to say about that is that when it comes to nightmares, fears, even separation anxiety, there are certain things that you can do to help this, depending on the age of your little one. So if your little one is a toddler and they're having fears of the dark or whatever, then you can add a dim light to their room. It has to be very dim and it has to be red. Red is the least likely to affect their melatonin levels. You don't want a big bright light on that's going to affect their melatonin levels and could possibly keep them up or even prevent them from falling asleep, anything like that. So a dim red light is what's best. If their light in their room creates shadows, it creates more fears for them because it can sometimes create shadows and stuff like that. If it's dim enough, it usually won't, but it could. And if that does scare them, then you can put a gate on their door because we don't want them coming out, especially if they're not in a crib anymore. And it's for their safety, and also it keeps them in their room and teaches them self-control. So keep the gate up and put a hallway light on if you can. If you want to get really fun with it, you can create a monster spray, which is really just a spray bottle with water in it. And you can go around the room, spraying the room, saying, we're getting rid of the monsters. Where are we going to spray next? And get them to even spray it, actually. It's better if they do it because then they're like spraying away the monsters. And then you can say, see, the monsters are all gone. They're not here anymore. So that really helps too. And this next one, it really helps with separation anxiety. Let them sleep with your t-shirt and make sure it smells like you. That can really help with separation anxiety and any fears that they may have. So that's all the tips that I have for you guys today. I also have a statement that I just want to say, and I want to make clear that about these milestones that I always talk about. When a physical milestone or a cognitive milestone happens, the guidelines that I give when I'm giving you an age for them is only a guideline. That's all it is. Some babies or toddlers may experience it sooner, some may experience it later, and that's okay. It's okay. So, but if you do have a worry about it and you're not sure if it's normal that maybe they're really early or they're really late with it, please go talk to your pediatrician about it and get their expert advice on that. So anyways, if you liked this video, please share it with others and spread the love and help other parents in need. I also have a Facebook group called Sleep Little One. It's in the description box, wherever that is. I give weekly sleep tips and advice to exhausted parents like yourself who are in need. I hope to see you there. But if you're looking for a more individualized one-on-one plan for your little one and your family that suits your little one's needs, temperament, everything, your family, everything like that, I have amazing packages that I offer on my website that you can go and check out to get on the road to better sleep. The link to that is also in the description box. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you have a great week, a great weekend, and I will see you all again next time. Bye.